My name is Kim Stanley. I'm the academic dean of the law school and a professor. I teach mostly tax. I've taught property as well. I'm happy to see such a good turnout today. Hope you enjoy the lunch. Always nice when the law school feeds you. So we're here to help you make decisions about planning your final year of law school. And we've collected the whole team of experts at the law school to help answer your questions and to give you some information. So I'm going to start off and talk a little bit about curriculum and the choice of classes that you can now have. You've done most of your required courses, so there are a lot more options in terms of electives. And then we're going to hear from Professor Jonathan Chu, who is a director of bar services. I know that's top of mind for most of you, how you're going to prepare for the bar exam. And then we'll hear from Assistant Director of Student Services, Jamie Nye, who's going to talk about some nuts and bolts things about registration, student advising. And then you'll hear from Professor Michelle Neitz, who's the Director of Externship Programs for the law school, and all the reasons why you need to line up an externship and how we can help you do that. And then finally, we'll hear from Associate Dean Susanna Ronowitz, who runs the Law Career Services Office, about the thing that's most important to you all, and that is finding a job after graduation. So I want to welcome any kind of questions along the way. Just raise your hand. Don't feel like you're interrupting, and we'll move forward, okay? So I wanted to kind of give you a brief overview of what courses that are open to you as elective courses next year. Of course, you need to not only take all of your required courses, you need to take a total of 88 units. You also have to take an upper division writing course and an experiential learning course, 2 credits for the writing course and 3 credits for the experiential learning course, unless you're a night student, and that's then 2 credits. The writing courses are designed as sort of small class seminars on particular topics where you write a paper instead of a final exam. And the process is supposed to be collaborative with the professor in the sense that you'll receive comments on your draft and help you improve your writing, so you have a great writing sample at the end of your law school career. You can check on the law school website for the various courses that satisfy this requirement. It'll say right in the course description, satisfies upper division writing requirement. Same with experiential learning. All externships satisfy the experiential learning requirement for graduation, as well as a lot of simulation classes such as trial ad, ADR, alternative dispute resolution. We've got ADR, general ADR. We've got ADR for families and children, some kind of a family law ADR. That is a new course we started offering this semester. So look for the experiential learning courses. I think Professor Neitz is going to tell you that preferable to the courses is an externship. That should be your first priority. The new exciting elective courses is what I wanted to spend most of my time talking about. We've done a lot of work in trying to find the best electives that are exciting, fun, more skills-oriented, taught by really cutting-edge, top-of-the-line adjuncts and professors. So I wanted to just tell you about a couple of new offerings. First, in the business law area, very excited to offer some new offerings in business law. One is mergers and acquisitions. Of course, it's been on our course roster for a while, but we haven't taught it for about 3 years. And we have 2 senior partners at DLA Piper, a large law firm across the street, who do nothing but mergers and acquisitions. They'll be teaching the class in the fall, and it will be kind of a skills-oriented class where you'll be doing exercises. In addition to that, we have a new class called Corporate Compliance and Ethics. In a nutshell, this class is for training lawyers to keep CEOs out of jail. Basically, it's how corporations can ensure that they comply with regulations and conform to ethical standards of behavior. And that teacher is Amy Barnard Bond, who is the Chief Compliance Officer at McKesson Pharmaceuticals, a Fortune 500 company, who's going to come here and teach this class. I don't know of any other law school west of the Mississippi that's offering a class like this. And that's important because this is a very, very ripe area for new jobs, new types of legal jobs, in-house, in corporations and in law firms, as well as helping corporations manage their requirements to abide by regulations. E-Discovery is another new course. It's very, very cutting edge and very fruitful avenue for jobs. E-Discovery is basically how a company or a corporation or a company or a law firm manages the huge bulk of data and information that is generated in the normal course of business, and it has to be turned over to comply with discovery requests. So this class is a little bit techy, a little bit litigation, a little bit sort of brave new world, because it has a lot to do with data management systems, and a lot of this work is currently being done part-time by contract lawyers. That's a very fruitful area of jobs after graduation, but looking forward towards the future, we will only have more data and more information to manage, and lawyers will be essential in that process, both for privacy purposes, for corporate compliance purposes, for litigation purposes. So understanding both from a technological side and a legal side what the laws and the technology are about the production and the management of records and data. It's going to be a very, very essential skill set for lawyers in the future. Another couple of classes I wanted to highlight in the business area. We have a wonderful class called High Technology Startups. It's all about sort of venture capital financing and funding of startup corporations. That's going to be taught in the fall. And then in the spring, we have a really exciting opportunity. It's called International Business Negotiation. That is a class, but it's also a negotiation, sort of like a competition. But we will be pitted against another law school. I think it's going to be University of Denver. So we'll have a class of about 12 or 15 students, and we will be on one side of a problem that is basically a pharmaceutical company wishing to acquire a natural resource from a third world country. And so one school will be representing the country, and one school will be representing the pharmaceutical company. And all the negotiation will occur over the wire, so to speak, through Skype or some similar technology. Won't be face-to-face, which is also another sort of really new and innovative way to introduce you to the real world, because that's how negotiations are conducted these days. So that's called International Business Negotiation. That's in the spring. Really encourage, if you're interested in business law, that would be a fantastic course to take. We have a lot of offerings in family law. As I said, we have an ADR for family law course that's new. We are offering a Children in the Law course in the fall. It's specialized about child dependency and welfare issues. Environmental law, we have toxics and brownfield that's going to be taught, that's being taught now, and we have environmental, urban, and land use law that will be taught in the fall. Intellectual property, we remain really strong. We had a new course this spring on cyber law and privacy. Fascinating area, again, a very ripe area for new jobs. Professor Blazer is going to teach that course again in the fall because it was so popular this semester. And then in the spring, in 2015, she'll teach like a advanced version of that privacy course. So lots of areas in which privacy law intersects with different legal specialties. So it's not just an IP kind of a thing. HR, employment, litigation, privacy really sort of touches everything. And then lots of litigation courses and lots of just general courses. I want to make a pitch for Essential Mindfulness, which is a class where you are taught how to involve your life with mindfulness techniques, meditation, stress reduction. It's a really wonderful class. I took it myself last semester. I learned a great deal. So that will be taught in the fall. It's actually taught in the fall and in the spring. We have specialization certificates, so look on the website if you want to specialize in any of these areas, business law, international law, tax law. You can look and find who the faculty advisor of the certificate is and meet with that person and sort of chart your course. Competitions, we are just kicking butt in competitions lately. Our litigation program is outstanding. We were ranked number 2 in a national, that's right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, number 2 national ABA competition in Chicago just last month. Very, very exciting developments. And so you should, if you're interested in litigation or mock trial, please involve yourselves in the competitions. Last thing I wanted to mention is we have a unique opportunity for those who want to pursue an LLM degree. We have 5 different LLM degrees: tax, environmental law, IP, international law, and then U.S. legal studies, which is for foreign lawyers. But we have now changed the rules so that you can transfer any of the courses you take as a JD towards your LLM degree on approval of the director. So it used to be you could only transfer 12. Now you can transfer as many as you can fit into your schedule before you graduate. 24 units needed for an LLM degree. Many people are getting 2/3 of the way or 3/4 of the way through that by the time they graduate with their JD. Take the bar exam in the summer and then come back and finish up 6-8 units in the fall while you're waiting for bar results. It's a very economical and time-efficient way to do an LLM degree. That way, when you finish in December, you will have your JD degree, your LLM degree, and your bar card, and can hit the job market with some real strength and gravitas. So I want to make sure you're aware of that change in the rules so that if you're interested in pursuing an LLM in one of the areas, talk to the advisor and see whether you can make use of this more liberal transfer policy. Last word is don't do that, though, and rob yourself of the opportunity to get fully prepared for the bar. Our bar exam services department is fantastic. It's an amazing operation. We're going to turn the time now over to Professor Jonathan Chu to tell you about that.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're enjoying the lunch and the popcorn. Again, my name is Jonathan Chu. I'm the Director of Bar Exam Services. I know the bar exam is a very hot topic in terms of everyone planning their final year of law school. What I want to talk about today is that for everyone who came in, you should have received a little packet from me. This packet here describes what is on the bar exam. So it's very important that as you plan your 3rd and final year, or 4th year if you're a night student, that you see which subjects are tested on the bar. Also, this information comes to you from 2 very key websites. The State Bar of California is www.calbar.ca.gov, and the other body of information comes from ncbex.org, and that is the company that administers the NPRE and the MBE, which is the multi-state portion of the bar exam. So the bar exam consists of 3 key portions. There are 6 essays, 2 practical writing assignments, and 200 multiple choice questions that take place over 3 days. This covers a span of 13 topics. So those 13 topics are all covered here in law school. You cover them mostly in your 1st and 2nd year of law school, and then your 3rd year is filled with electives as well. In the 3rd year, that's the course that I teach. It's an elective, practical legal writing. It's offered both in the fall and the spring, and we prepare you for the bar. We cover 6 weeks, covering the 6 major subjects that are covered on the MBE. We do 50 to 60 multiple choice questions each week. We have a book for you, the book that the school will acquire a book for you to use. And then we also work with your writing. We work on about 3 essays a week with you. In addition to that, we bring in a specialist who will work on the multiple choice portion with you, and then 5 weeks of intensive practical writing for the performance test. So that's something that I encourage all of you to seek in your final year, is to make sure that you're working on your legal writing, whether it's in an externship, in an internship, at a clinic, or in my class. It's very key and vital that you work on your legal writing. That's definitely a major area of the bar. So that's practical legal writing. You can take it either in the fall or you can take it in the spring. Again, it's a full semester and it's 2 credits. For those who need some attention, we have a by invitation only course, which is called Strategies of Legal Writing. And there we focus again on more aspects of legal writing. I just want to introduce everyone to Rana. Rana is our bar exam counselor and bar exam services. So if you've worked with her before in ADP, she's now part of our department where she offers counseling, she offers assistance with legal writing. She's here to talk about any aspect of the bar. She's very well seasoned, very well experienced, and we're very lucky to have her in our department. There's other courses that you can take. There's a series of courses that's called Special Problems, and they offer courses in special problems in contracts and torts, special problems in evidence, special problems in criminal law and procedure. And so if you feel like you need a refresher course, if you need the ability to revisit a subject that you want more time to practice on, then these courses are taught by adjuncts who are going to cover the material again with you, or even full-time faculty as well that will cover the topic. And then we'll go through a lot of past questions and again, work on your legal writing. Throughout the fall and spring, you're going to get notices in law school news, you'll see things posted, and I host a series of workshops. These workshops are intended for third years who want to work on their legal writing. So if you feel like you need help in writing a legal brief, just so that you know, the bar consists of 2 practical sides, aspects of writing, where in 3 hours you have to deliver a solid piece of your legal work. So for the 2 Ls that are going through at-bat right now, imagine you have 3 hours to write an at-bat brief. So it's an hour and a half to read the file and organize it, and you have an hour and a half to write it. So even though you have a full semester, those skills that you learned in your 2L are really going to help you in terms of translating that to be able to deliver for the performance test on the bar. The other thing that we offer is that we have faculty mentoring. So this is a project that's spearheaded by the Dean's Office, where every student will be assigned a faculty mentor. So the faculty mentor is to help you as 3Ls and 4Ls with the process of the bar. So if you have questions, if you want to see your faculty mentor, they're happy to walk through bar questions with you, give you advice about what they did for the bar, be there to just kind of support you throughout that whole process. The bar exam is a tough test. It's 3 days. It's the hardest test in the union, but it's passable, and it's passable with the right preparation and practice. And I think that with our department supporting you, we feel very confident in our ability to get the bar pass rate up, as well as to support you. And all of these skills that you acquire during your final year are going to help you in the practice. And I've heard that from many students who have passed the bar on their first try, that when they go into the legal field, that their employers are very happy and content with the work product. So Ron and I are both located in the faculty center. We are on the 2nd floor. If you would like to make an appointment or come by, just stop by. We'll have popcorn. You can come see us, and we're very approachable. We'll be putting on workshops. If you see us in the hallway, have any question about the bar exam, and it's not just California. If you have questions about New York, other states, we're happy to advise you on that as well. So we're a full department. We're happy to, again, provide you information that you need. Thank you.
Hello. All right, so I have a fair number of things to go through. First, starting off with summer registration. For those of you who haven't looked at it yet, summer registration is open for rising 3Ls and 4Ls. You can go ahead and do that now on GGU for you if you want to. There are a fair number of courses offered. If you're on academic supervision, you do need to come in and see me or Dean Sampat in the Law Student Services office. I will also encourage you, 1Ls register starting Tuesday right after midnight. So if you want to register for a class, I would do so before Tuesday because everything will fill, okay? Or a lot of the classes will fill at that point. So take care of that. During the summer, you're allowed to take a maximum of 8 units. We typically don't encourage people to do all 8, because that's a lot. It's the equivalent of 16 during a regular semester. But you can take up to 8 units. You do need at least 3 units over the summer to qualify for financial aid. So if you do want to get financial aid for living expenses and things, and to cover that class. And typically scholarships don't apply in the summer, but you can talk to the financial aid office about your particular scholarship if you have any questions. It's not required that you take summer classes at any time, but most students do at some point, and a large part of that is to free up time during your 3L and 4L year to allow you to study for the bar. So if you can get 3 units out of the way over the summer, that can be very helpful to you to lighten up your load so you have more time to do all these practice essays and multiple choice questions, and to get prepared for the bar. Okay. Some of the classes, most of the classes actually this summer are at night. There's a couple during the day or the early evenings. You can also work or do an internship. Another way you could get units over the summer will be, as long as you're doing an unpaid internship, you can do that for externship credit, but Professor Needs will be talking to you about that in more detail. But again, we encourage you to get some of the units out of the way over the summer, if possible, to have a light enough load to focus on bar prep, starting that during your 3rd or 4th year. Fall registration will open in late June, early July. We anticipate that the fall schedule will be available to you before exams, end of April, so that you can meet with us in Law Student Services if you're going to not be in the area during the summer and you want questions, you want to ask us some questions about what classes to take during your fall semester. Again, we do encourage you to have fewer units in the spring, so if you can have a slightly heavier load in the fall and fewer in the spring so you can continue to ramp up your bar study. That's encouraged. Try not to take more than one 4-unit course at any time. At any one time, most of you should be through some of those 4-unit courses: evidence, wills and trusts, and BA, business associations, by this point. But if you still have a number of those to do, we try to encourage you to do those independently. We do encourage you to take PR, professional responsibility, no later than fall of your 3rd or 4th year, if you're going to be graduating in the spring. The reason we recommend that is because most students take the MPRE, the Multi-State Professional Responsibility Exam, at the same time that they're studying for the class Professional Responsibility. You don't have to do them concurrently, but many students do. And if you take the MPRE during the fall of your 3rd year and you don't pass on the first time, you can still take it again in the spring of your 3rd year. If, however, you wait and take the MPRE for the first time in the spring of your 3rd year, and you don't pass it, the next time is a few days after the actual bar exam, and you don't want to do that. I encourage you to plan ahead, do PR no later than fall, but there is a PR section this summer if you would like to get that out of the way over the summer. So substantive bar courses, the courses that are covered on the California bar exam, wills and trusts, business associations, community property, real estate transactions, all those courses are available. Every student is required to take 8 units of those. Some students are required to take 12 if you're on academic supervision or probation. But we do encourage people to take more than the minimum. This gives you exposure to these subjects that you'll then be reviewing for the bar. So then it's review when you're studying for the bar rather than whole cloth brand new information. Everybody does need to learn some of it independently. Most people don't take all of the bar subject courses while they're in school, but we encourage you to get a fair number of those under your belt if you can. Okay? Your exposure to these areas during law school will help you substantively on the bar and increase your confidence and your comfort when you're studying for the bar exam. And you need all of that you can get as you're going into that process. Okay? Let's see. We do encourage you to work with Rana and Jonathan. If you're on academic supervision, you're required to do so during your 3rd year or 4th year. But we do encourage everybody to do that. And we encourage you to take the classes that Jonathan spoke about, practical legal writing, special problems courses. These are great ways to figure out what you still need to work on. For that reason, PLW is offered in the fall and in the spring, but our encouragement is that you take it during the fall, so that if you identify any challenges you need to work on, you have the spring semester to do so. If you can only take it during the spring, it's still worth absolutely taking it, but if you can, try to schedule it to take PLW in the fall. Okay. The special problems classes are really great as well, as Jonathan was mentioning. You're allowed to take up to 2 of those while you're a student here, but no more than 1 per semester. So you can have 1 in the spring and 1 in the fall, or 1 in the fall and 1 in the spring. Okay. Something else I want to talk to you about that Law Student Services works with is the moral character application. That's part of the bar exam. In addition to passing that test, you have to be certified in your moral character. Part of that requires fingerprinting. Law Student Services coordinates bringing a fingerprinting service to campus once during the fall semester, once during the spring semester, during the graduation fair. Everybody needs to do these live scan fingerprints. If you aren't able to participate in it while you're with the ones that we bring to campus, we can give you the names of organizations that can do that fingerprinting for you. Just to let you know, you need to do your fingerprints. You can do your fingerprints up to 90 days prior to submitting your moral character application. However, if you submit your moral character application before you have your fingerprints done, then you have 15 days to get the fingerprints done. So do your fingerprints first if you can, then you have the 90-day window in order to get that application turned in. The moral character application does take quite a bit of time. The California Bar encourages applicants to get the moral character application submitted 8 to 10 months prior to admission to the bar. So if you're taking the July bar, you'll be admitted in November. And so they encourage you to get that in 8 to 10 months prior to that. So most students work on that over winter break, to get it submitted over winter break, to have it out of the way, and to have plenty of time for the bar to review that. We've actually been hearing that there are some students who didn't get their moral character applications in until after they took the bar exam, or really, really late in their spring semester, and they might have passed the bar, but they can't be certified to be a lawyer until they've passed that moral character application. And that can take a long time to get processed, so please do that early. If you have something on your record, an arrest, a conviction, an educational discipline, financial delinquency, anything like that, we encourage you to do that even earlier. Those things are not necessarily going to preclude you from being admitted to the bar, but they could result in the process taking a little bit longer. So getting started on that earlier will help you in that process. We have resources we can help you with. If you have any of those situations on your record, please come in and talk to us in Law Student Services. What you tell the bar, on the moral character application, they're going to ask you for all your addresses since you graduated from high school, all your schools you've attended. They're also going to ask you about any convictions, arrests, that kind of thing. And what you tell the bar needs to match what you have told us, because the bar is going to contact us and ask us what you've disclosed to us. And those things need to match. So if there is something you haven't disclosed to us, please do so. Come see us as soon as possible so we can work on that. Omissions are a really big deal. If the bar finds out that you didn't tell them something that you should have told them, and they discover it on their own through their background checks, that can be a big problem. It can take a long time to resolve some of those issues. They're actually asking us now specifically about amendments, so students who didn't tell us about something on their application to law school that we discover later, and we have to amend your application at that point. They're specifically asking us to disclose those things. We have in the past, but now it's something they're actually really looking at. So please do make sure that you let us know anything. If you're concerned, if you don't know if something needs to be disclosed, come see us. We can try to help you with that. We also have a list of attorneys. If you're worried about something on your record, we can refer you to somebody. We don't necessarily endorse these attorneys. They're just people that some of our students have gone to in the past that might be helpful for you if you wanted an additional opinion on that. Our general advice on the moral character application is to err on the side of disclosure. Tell them, you know, if you're not sure if you should include it, include it. It's better for them to know rather than finding it out from some other source. Okay. You can call the state bar and ask them questions anonymously if you have concerns about what you need to report on the moral character application. They can help you that. But do take down the name of the person that you talk to and the answer that they give you so that you have a record if it becomes a problem down the road. Again, submit it as early as you can. You know, it's no fun to be admitted to the bar, you pass the bar exam, but not be able to be actually licensed until that's done. Okay. For any students who need disability accommodations on the bar exam, maybe you're getting accommodations here as a student and you want accommodations as well on the bar exam, it's really important to start that process very early. Okay. You want to have the request completed and submitted no later than winter break prior to the July administration of the bar. Okay. There's a lot of forms involved, including forms that have to come from doctors. It's a long, involved process, and we encourage you to get started with that early. It does take the bar a long time to respond to these applications typically, and you want to have time to appeal if they don't rule in your favor. Okay. You can work with Elisa Laird-Mecke. She's the Assistant Director of Law Student Services and does disability accommodations here on campus. She's an expert who can help you with this if you need any guidance. Meet with her early in the fall term if you are considering seeking accommodations on the bar, and she can help get you started with your application. Okay. Do let us know how it goes. If you apply, let us know if you are granted or denied your accommodations. That helps us help future students if we know why the bar is allowing some things and not other things. So please do keep us informed. Also, Dean Thumput wrote an article about ADHD accommodations for the bar exam. It's really helpful, really interesting. There's a lot of important information to know if you have ADHD and you're trying to seek accommodations on the bar exam here in California or in any other state. If you have questions, you can contact me or Elisa. We can get you the URL to find the article if you want to read more about it. Or it's in the Hastings Race and Poverty Law Journal from Volume 9. Okay. A couple more random miscellaneous things. Though you're not required to meet with us, most of you aren't required to come and meet with us, we do strongly encourage everybody to come check in with Law Student Services at some point before graduation. You don't want to get to your last semester and find out that you're 2 units short, or you missed a requirement or something like that. So please do check in with us. You can also check your progress online on GGU for You under Academic Advising, View My Evaluation. There's a lot of information there. You can see exactly which classes you're taking, your grades, what's still needed. So do make sure you're on track to graduate. Okay. There is a limit on work as you go into, as you're here in law school. The ABA requires that students who are enrolled in more than 12 units during a term are not allowed to work more than 20 hours a week. This limitation applies to paid employment, but the idea applies to volunteer work in spirit. You want to make sure that you're not overwhelming yourself, you're not overloading yourself. So look as you're committing to things to balance your load. Make sure you build in room for bar study, for internships, externships, and your classes, and your personal life, all of things. On that note, wellness is a very important thing to be considering. That essential mindfulness class that Dean Stanley talked about is a great way to work on your own stress management. But there are resources here on campus if you're finding that you're really stressed out. There's a lot of uncertainty going into your 3rd and final year of law school. So take advantage of wellness resources. Meet with the counselors there. You can come in and talk to us in Law Student Services if things in your life are interfering with your ability to do your academics. Okay, please come see us. We also encourage you to work with academic development so that you're getting the most out of school and doing the best that you can as you're going into your 3rd year here. Some special scholarships, information about special scholarships will be emailed to students shortly, I believe. So definitely pay attention to that application. There's a fair amount of money that can be applied to your 3rd year, varying reasons and qualifications for some of that scholarship money. Some is need-based, some is merit-based, some is based on special qualifications. You're from a county in Northern California. There's all sorts of random ones. So please check those to make sure you're getting access to all the funding you can. There's also outside scholarships that the Financial Aid Office can let you know about. They post a lot of that in Law School News, as well as on their website, so check those out. Do read Law School News. You're technically required under the conditions of the student handbook, but it's also really, really important, especially as you're going into your last year here. A lot of information about graduation, the commencement ceremony, bar workshops, all sorts of really, really important stuff is advertised in Law School News, so please do read that. Let's see, you do need to register for graduation, okay? For the May or July graduates, you're going to register by December 1st. There's a form you need to submit to the registrar's office. It says exactly what you want your name to appear as on your diploma, but it also triggers the school to send you emails about the commencement ceremony, about how to get tickets for your friends and family to come watch you walk across the stage. And also it triggers the registrar's office to do a graduation check on you, so they can identify if you're 1 unit short or 2 units short. So definitely take care of that application. It's a form available online or at the registrar's office. So take care of that by December 1st. We will put an announcement in Law School News, so another pitch to make sure you read Law School News. If you have sped up or slowed down your graduation, you've taken more units or you've taken a leave of absence or something, and you've changed what might be your graduation date, The system doesn't automatically do that. You need to let the registrar's office know if your graduation date is something different than what you started with. You can just send an email to lawreg@ggu.edu or go to the registrar's office to talk about that. If you're not sure, come see us in Law Student Services and we can look at your number of units remaining and figure out when graduation is going to happen for you. Okay? Again, we welcome your questions, ideas, whatever, as you're going here into your final year. But that's all I have, unless anybody has any questions for me.
You kept them riveted, I can tell.
Yes.
Thank you, Jamie.
Oh, Sam?
If you plan your third year so you take more units in the fall and then in the spring, is there a problem if you take below 12 so you're part-time?
That's an excellent question. For students who are full-time, typically you have to be in at least 12 units in a semester. Once you're down below 25 remaining units, we don't care about that. You do need to let the financial aid office know, keep them apprised of how many units you're planning to take so they can apportion your aid accordingly. But if you have 10 or 11 or 9 units remaining in your spring semester, that's fine. Yeah, great question. Yes. All right.
Thank you. Jamie, on to Professor.
So some of you are my former students. You know that I like to use PowerPoint to keep you engaged. And I'm going to do. I said I'm Professor Neitz. I have a number of different hats that I wear at the law school. I teach the Business Associations course. I teach professional responsibility. I had an intern when I was a legal aid lawyer in San Diego who neglected to do her moral character until right when she was graduating. One of her moral character references did not fill out the form. She was delayed 9 months to practice. She lost a job because of it. So I reiterate, the point, a lot of points that were made today are really important. That's another really important one. Do your moral character as soon as you can. Okay, but I'm not here to talk about that today. I'm here to talk about externships. And some of you have seen this before, but I'm going to do it again. And some of you have heard me talk about this in class before, but I'm going to do it again, because that's what I've been asked to do as the externship director. So let me first talk about what the difference is between a clinic and an externship. We have in-house clinics here at the law school. We have a women's employment rights clinic and an environmental law and justice clinic. These are basically law offices on campus. The clinical professors who run those clinics are basically practicing lawyers. You serve as their associates, and they teach you. It's a pretty good gig. My clinic in law school is what really propelled me into my job at legal aid, and so I'm a big fan of these in-house legal clinics. You don't have to be interested in employment law. You don't have to be interested in environmental law. But what you do if you walk into one of those clinics is you sit down with these professors, you have live clients, and they basically, folks, teach you how to be a lawyer. So I really recommend, if you do not have any other experience on your resume, if you're looking for a way to either learn about a substantive area or to get substantive skills, consider one of our in-house legal clinics. They're housed in the 40 Jesse Street building. You can go over there and talk to them at any time. I can also give you more information about them. The second type of work experience you can get as a lawyer is an unpaid internship. This is what I did in law school as well. You go out, you volunteer. This is usually to nonprofits. You don't get any academic credit for it. You don't get any money for it. You get experience, etc. Okay, and we're going to talk a minute about that. You can also get a paid internship. I don't think I have to tell you what the value of a paid internship is besides experience, networking, and everything I'm about to talk about. But the last thing, and where my office comes in, is that you can get an externship. And an externship is different than an unpaid internship. The term that's used is externship, meaning you go out into the world, you work in a law office, and you get academic credit for it as though it were a class. And that's where my office comes into play, is if you want to go out and get an externship. So I'm going to talk about nuts and bolts and what eligibility is and the types of externships we offer. But first, I want you to think about your resume for a moment. You're about to head into your third year. Congratulations for making it through more than half of law school. If I were to sit down as an employer and look at your resume, do you have anything besides classes on your resume? If the answer is no, you have a weaker resume than some of your colleagues. Let me tell you why it's a weaker resume. I know as an employer that you can go to school, but do I know that you can work in a law office unless your resume demonstrates that you've done so? Maybe not. And what do I care about as an employer? I care that you know how to go to school, but I really care that you know how to work in a law office. So what are my top 5 reasons to do an externship? Well, the first one is networking. How do you know who's going to give you a job out of law school? I would like to hire all of you, but guess what? I'm not a practicing lawyer anymore. I'm a professor on campus. If you graduate from here without a roster of mentors, then I feel that you and we have done a disservice. You need to walk out of this school at graduation with a list in your head of 3 to 5 lawyers in your practice area, in the city that you want to work in, that you could call up and say, hey, I'm graduating, thank you for all the advice you've given me, can I treat you to lunch? This is your network. You have to start building it now. You're going into your final year. If I say this, who are your 3 to 5 lawyers that you would call and you think, oh my God, I don't know what she's talking about? This is a problem. We need to work on this. We need to get your professional network expanded. This is how law works, folks. Who do you know? Who do you know to get you clients? Who do you know to tell you about the judge you're going to appear in front of? Who do you know to get you a job? Okay, and Suzanne, of course, Dean Aronowitz is going to talk a little bit more about that. The best way to get a good network going is to do an externship and have a supervisor who knows your work and can introduce you to other people and speak highly of you and your work and your professionalism. So that's my number 1 reason. My number 2 reason is experience. Figure out what you like and what you don't like. Okay, so my example that I've given in class, that I know a lot of you know already, is that I spent my first summer of law school working in the San Francisco Public Defender's Office. I was really excited. I thought I wanted to be a public defender. I got placed on the most high-profile homicide case in the office that summer. They actually won the case a year later. It was a self-defense, a cultural self-defense acquittal. It was an incredible case. On the first Friday that I was working there, they said, hey, your job today is to arrange these exhibit photos of the dead body. And I was 2 photos in and I said, I'm out. This is not the work I want to do. I don't really like the work. I love the people. I don't like the work. I ended up going to my supervisor and saying, can I transfer to something a little more touchy-feely than homicide? And ended up in drug court and I loved it. So what did I teach myself that summer? I don't want to be a homicide defense attorney. I don't want to be a prosecutor. I actually don't want anything to do with criminal law. I have never regretted that decision. Why? I know because I had experience in it that I didn't like it. That's as important as knowing what you do like. So if you're in a job and you don't like it, good. Now you know one thing that you don't like. Okay? You also get to know how lawyers work. How do they bill? If you can walk into a job interview and say, oh, I'm familiar with this billing system because I did it in my externship, it's going to make it a more seamless transition to hire you. People are going to like that. Resume I've sort of already talked about. I think you should have at least 2 real-world experiences or clinical experiences on your resume before you graduate. Show employers you can work in at least 2 different types of offices and with multiple types of clients. Number 4, we love having you on campus. We think this is a great place to be. But guess what? Going off campus can be good for your career. This is true for networking events, like Bar Association events, like the one that's coming up. This is true for employers who you're meeting because you're working in their offices. Lastly, confidence. I see a difference between my second-year students and my third-year students. I see it in class and I see it in student advising. And let me tell you what the difference is. My third-year students, especially in a class like professional responsibility, when I say, hey, how many of you know about billing? And hands shoot up in the air, they know how to walk like a lawyer, how to talk like a lawyer. We're teaching you how to think like a lawyer. We want you to be able to do everything else. Working in a law office, whether you like the job or not, is going to give you that confidence going into an interview where, frankly, folks, that's where it matters most, right, is in the job interview. Okay, so I've told you how important it is. Let me tell you how you can do it. Now, if you want to get academic credit for it, that's what I'm here to help you with, to facilitate that process. We don't actually place you with particular externships, but I have information here about how you can find externships through LCS Online, and of course I'm always willing to help you to brainstorm what sort of externship you would want, as is our Career Services Office, and frankly, as is most of our faculty. So, you get a cap of 13 credits over your law school career that you can get through what's called experiential learning, through these externships. That means if you haven't had any externships for credit yet, Up to 13 credits can be taken for externships. Now, if you're going in your final year and taking 13 credits, we'll talk about it, right? We'll work with Law Student Services to talk about it. But you have a lot of leeway here in terms of credits. You have to have completed at least 1 year of law school, which all of you had. So you are all eligible for externships. And there are some GPA requirements for externships, especially if you want to work for a judge. So 2.5 is the GPA requirement for states judges, 2.75 for appellate or federal judges. Once you've figured out what you want to work in, whether that's you want to work in a small firm, a big firm, a nonprofit, a government office, whatever it may be that you want to work in, just so you know, folks, a lot of summer externships have been snapped up already, so come and talk to me if you don't have anything planned for the summer, because we need to get going on that. It's almost April. Fall externships, hiring has begun. Something to think about. Look at your resume. What's missing? If you think you want to work in a small firm, have you ever done it before? If you think you want to be a nonprofit lawyer, I used to hire interns at a nonprofit. We didn't hire people that didn't have, especially for full-time attorney positions, if they didn't have nonprofit experience. If you want to be a business lawyer, have you done business litigation or transactional work? Do you understand what that means? That's where externships can come into play. Okay? So, I'm a big fan of real-world learning. I think it's really the way that you're going to learn the best kind of lawyer that you want to be. So I have office hours today from 1:30 to 4:30. I have office hours every Monday and Friday. I'm here, I'm around. Come and see me if you have any questions. My office is room 2339. It's the very first faculty office around the corner from the mailboxes on the second floor faculty center. We'll talk about what path you should take in terms of externships and how you can use an externship to help your career.
Hi everybody, we're almost there. Okay, I'm here to talk to you about some of the themes that were already mentioned by all of my colleagues. Right? You are here in law school because eventually you're going to leave us in the law school and go out and find work that you find to be meaningful. And as you begin the final year of law school, this becomes a very important transition time for all of you. We need to start shedding that student identity and start taking on that identity of being a legal professional, however you are going to choose to define that. And so the first piece of that process is to really understand what it is you want to do, where it is you want to go. So I guess that's thing one. If you don't know yet, that's fine. That's why we're here. And so for those of you who are as confused today as you were when you first arrived at law school, come talk with us. We can work with you and help you understand your interests, your strengths, help you identify some directions you might want to head into, and then use this summer and the beginning of the fall to really make some progress to identify and articulate your goals. I know that others of you have already honed in on the few things that are most compelling to you. And it's really important as we enter that final year of law school to take an inventory. You know, if you know where you're going, what do you need to get there? Okay, what are the skills that those employers are going to expect to see from you? What is the expertise they expect that you've acquired while you're here? What is the network that you need to help you with that transition, as Professor Needs mentioned? So it's important to take that inventory, and where you've identified some gaps, we have time this summer, next fall, and next spring to fill in those gaps to make sure you graduate ready to go, ready to make those transitions successfully into the market. So we want you to be really strategic. When Professor Stanley mentioned all those different courses, they all sounded interesting. You can't possibly take all of them. We want you to make some smart choices to make sure you are building the right expertise. With your externships, we don't want you to just apply to a bunch of stuff and just pick one. We really want you to be focused and targeted so that you are getting the right skills and building the right contacts as you move forward. Same is true with pro bono. We encourage you to use our pro bono program. That may be a very easy way, a less time-consuming way to fill in some of those gaps or give you a taste of some areas that you might be curious about but haven't had the opportunity to explore. The networking piece is something that should be there all the time. I encourage all of you to join us this Wednesday evening at 5 o'clock. We are hosting our Meet the Bar Association's event. We have, at last count, I think 28 different bar and professional organizations coming to campus to meet you. They want to tell you about their organizations. They want to tell you about the benefits that they offer. Many of them have mentor programs specifically for law students. Many of them offer free or discounted rates for law students. by signing up now, you get the benefit of those organizations. I highly recommend before you graduate that you have some of those professional affiliations on your resume, not just to take up space, but to communicate to employers that you have started that transition. You may still have a foot in the law school, but you now have a foot in the external legal community. So please join us this Wednesday from 5 to 6:15, I believe it is. I have flyers back there with all the details. We'll have food, but more importantly, we have over 28 organizations eager to meet you. I also encourage you to be working with us as we head into the summer months to understand the hiring processes for the types of employers that you hope to work for after graduation. There are lots of different ways employers hire, and if you know you want to work with a certain kind of organization, you want to understand how and when that employer hires. So some employers will be hiring this summer through our summer recruitment program. If you miss that window of opportunity, you may have to wait several years to join those organizations. So please work with us. We'll be doing a summer recruitment orientation session next week. We'll tell you about the program. I know some of you participated in it last summer to get summer jobs for this summer. Some of the employers participate to hire entry-level attorneys for after graduation. So please pay attention, come to the session next week. Flyers are back there. There are many other employers who don't hire through a summer recruiting process, and we want to make sure you know when and how to engage those employers. So I recommend that all of you meet with a counselor at LCS, ideally before the semester ends or at the beginning of the summer, so that we can identify for you, okay, if this is what you want to do, here's when you need to do it, here's how you do it, here are the resources to help you. If you are away over the summer, we are happy to meet with you over the phone, by email. Don't let lack of proximity be a deterrent. We can accommodate chatting with you however we need to. We can work with you on your materials. We can help you strategize a network. We can also link you with our 30-minute mentor program, which is a database of alumni who have volunteered to make themselves available to you for informational interviews and networking purposes. So they're a very warm crowd. They're happy to answer your questions and chat with you. So please come and work with us. We'll help you map things out. We'll help you make a smooth transition, and then we'll expect to work with you throughout your final year to move you along in your journey.